So today's class I won't be using the code block on it. I won't be programming in a code block. I'm going to be using this tablet. So we're going to work on based on the question paper. So this question paper which you see here is 2022 October, November. So it's the question paper that you wrote last year on October, November. So the first thing, I'm just gonna try to also, before you go to exam, like try to also read the instructions. After all the questions on a Word document, you see. So which means this document or a hand or by hand and convert. So you can choose it to write it in Word document or exam. You must know those rules. So you just have to read these instructions here using your before you go to exam, so that you don't have a problem, because sometimes you might write in hand, you find that you are not getting any results. So the question on number 1, it says consider the C++ code segment below. What value will new val have after this code has been executed? So the new val, we have int var1 and int var2, which is equals to 10, and int new var, which equals to 0. Then the if statement says if var1 multiplied by 2, var1 multiplied by 2 is going to be 8, because here we have our var1 is what? Our var1 is 4. Okay? So now because it's 8, it's going to say is 8 less than 10. Then this statement, it will be false. It won't be less than, is false. So which means this one here, it won't execute. The second one, the new var. Then we'll go to else if. If var1 is less than var2, is 4 less than 2, is 4 less than 10. We found that is right, is correct. So when it's correct, it says new var equals to what? var2. Our var2 is 10, and then minus var1 multiplied by 2 is going to be 8. 4 times 2 is 8. So the answer is going to be what? It's going to be 2. So else new var equals to 1. So the final answer for 1.1, it's supposed to be 2. Okay? That's the final answer that you must get. Then, but before that, we must also listen to the question. What exactly are we asked to answer? Consider this plus constant below. What value will new var have after the code has been? They want the value, so they want you to answer exactly what will be the result. So the result that you're gonna have is gonna be 2. So you will go to the next question. So the next question will be, suppose the input value for A is 5. So we have a value of A is 5. The input value of A is 5. What is the value of A after the following C++ code set has been executed? So this is the code int A and then C in A. When you say C in A, the user is going to enter 5 as indicated. Switch A. So when you say 5, when the user enter 5, you can see here we are working with the cases, case 1, case 2, case 3, case 5. So it's going to come straight here to case 5. When it comes to straight case 5, it found this statement says A equals to plus A plus 10. So plus A, it increment this 5 same time. It's going to be, say, 6 plus 10, which is going to give you 16. So when it gives you 16, it goes to case 6. Because there is no break, it's going to also go to case 6. Case 6 is 16. In case 6, it's going to divide by 2. But if there was a break, the final answer was going to be 16. Then you will have 8 in case 6. Because there is no break again, it goes to default. So default is going to say 8 plus what? Plus 1. So the final answer in this question is going to be 9. Then we can go to question 1.3. Question 1.3 says, consider the following C++ code segment. Int find value equals to int number p, then int count equals to 0, int value equals to 20. While count is less than number p, value plus equals to is count. Count plus return value. Ne? So now, in this statement here, we are given that this is a user will input, like it's already been, not a user, they already given a value p, it's already given to be 3. Yeah. So when value p is given to be 3, count is going to start at 0. It's going to say is 0 less than 3. When it finds that is true, then the value is going to say 20 plus 0. The first answer is going to be 20. Then it increment count to what? To 1. Is 1 less than 3? Using this while loop here. Is 1 less than 3? It finds that is true. Then it's going to say value plus equals to count. Then it's going to say 20 plus 1. You're going to get 21. Then again, it increment what? Count to 2. Is 2 less than 3? It finds that is true. Then value plus value now is 21. 21 plus 2 for count, then you're going to get 23. So after that, when you get 23, it's going to come to 3. Is 3 less than 3? 3 is not less than 3, then it's false. Then this program is going to stop. So the final value that is going to be returned is going to return 23. So if for demarcato, if the time we're doing, remember we did 20, 21, 22, ne? So we didn't really read the full statement that time because we ended up on 20. It was not going to end up with that question if you didn't have the, what if like your network didn't cut. It was going to be until we were going to work it until tomorrow. So this statement here, I didn't read this statement that there is 3 there.
Okay,
As
no
this
problem.
is number P, yes. So they want us to end at number 3. So the final answer for 1.3 is going to be 23. So you saw how we did it. So it's very important to read the question completely so that you may not have a problem. So now we're going to go to question number 2. If you have a question, just talk. So question number 2, it says in question 2.2 and 2.2, 2.1 and 2.2, you have to write down what the purpose of the segment of code is. Look at the following example before answering the questions. Int A, B, and C in A, B, and C. C out C plus B plus C. So they say the purpose of the above code segment is to input 3 integers value and display their sum. Okay? So now we have a now answer question 2.1 and 2.3. So this says assume that S and N have been declared as an integer, and then explain in words what the purpose of the following code segment is. So the code the code segment is to loop the purpose of this code segment is to like add n to s, is to add n to what? To s. How many times? 5 until to s until n is greater than, but this one for until you don't have to say it. You just want to say the purpose of this code segment is to add n to s and increment what? N by 1. And here you can say and increment or increment n by what? By 1, eh? Until n is less equals to 5. That's all. So let me repeat what I said. You can write it down. It's the purpose of this code segment is to add n to s and increment n by 1 until n is what? Is less than or equals to 5. So that's the purpose of that code there. The one, explain the purpose again. Okay, this is an array, the second 2.2. The array one is like the given an array, and if int I like that, if number I is not equals to 0, C plus equals to 1. So the purpose of this code segment is to increment I, is to increment C by 1. While if the array element is not equals to 0. Did you hear what I said? The purpose of this code segment is to increment or is to add 1 to C if the array element is not equal to 0. Array, these numbers that you see there, they are elements. So the array elements is not equal to, if it comes here at 11, it's gonna add C to 1 to C, it's gonna be 1. When here is 0, it won't do anything. When it comes here to 15, it's going to add again to 1. It's going to be AC is going to be 2. When it sees 0, it stops. It won't do anything because it's not what the I is not a is not while I is not equal is 0. When it's not equals to 0, finally it add like that. So that's the purpose of this what is it? That's the purpose of that 2.2, the code segment. So let's go to question 3. You don't have questions?
No.
All right. So let's proceed with the business of the day. Okay. Where am I right? All right. So now let's come to number 3. So number 3, it says, consider the following C++ code segment below. You have a function there. Int results int value p, int a equals to 2, and int count equals to 0, while in brackets count is less than the value p. Then you are given that statement. Then demonstrate the execution. Then they say demonstrate the execution and output of the program by drawing a variable diagram that traces each line of code. You heard that statement, that traces each line of code. If the value p is 6, you are required to draw a variable diagram. You are required to draw a variable diagram to illustrate what the code does. So now, many of you guys, I didn't teach you about the variable diagram. I told you that I'm going to teach you based when we are doing this, because it is an easy chapter. So now we're gonna discuss a little bit of a variable diagram, but I'm gonna discuss it just 1-2 minutes only, because you're gonna understand what is all about the variable diagram. So variable diagram is about a execution of a code. So when I say execution of a code, you write what exactly the computer will be thinking when it see a line. So I'm just checking, okay? So I hope you can see my body. So with variable diagram, let's just give me a moment. I just want to twist my chair. Okay, with a variable, diagram, so if the computer, it reads from line to line, so it works with a logic. So in variable diagram, what we do, you are going to be telling us or write down in a table form what will happen from each line. So but you don't really write all the lines. So if you have opened that question paper, if you have it, then you will see that the values, you first write the values that we have. The values that we have, the first one on top we have is written value p. Value p, you can write a line. Then second one is written is number a. You can write a line like that. And then, sorry for that, here you must write a line. I'm just gonna write, you can say line, but I'm just gonna indicate as a. Then the other value that we have there after a, we have a value count. You can just write count. So after count, let me see if we still have another value. We don't have any variables. So these are the variables, value p, count a, and count. These are the variables that are declared. So in this variable, in the first line, line 1, line 1 value, sorry, what's happening here? Line 1 value P is 6. They initiated at 6. But in line 1, if you check in line 1, are you guys having this question paper that I'm using? Because now yes, is what I'm seeing. So in question 3, line 1 is only what is only value P is 6. Then this one, they were not yet declared. There is nothing with these two values. Then in line 2, you don't do any scan. You skip. You're going to go to line 3. So in line 3, I'm the one who's like just give, yeah, it's fine. In line 3 value A is what? The value that is not there, you must not write it. You just leave it as an empty box. In line 3, value A is 2. But value count is nothing. There is nothing there. But in line 4, value count, in line 4, count is what is 0. This one, you can just leave them like that. Or if you are filling, you can just fill, but there's no need for you to fill. You just write, you don't write anything. So then you will go to line, after line 4, we go to line 5. Line 5 is just a while loop. You don't do anything. You leave it like that. Then after line 5, we're going to go to line 7. Line 7, that's when you have A plus equals to, count plus A over 2. So this one here, when you count it, you are going to use it as like is A, the A is going to start at what? S2, It's going to say, the A is going to say A equals to 2 plus, count is 0 plus 2 over 1, 2 over 2, which is going to be 2, 1. 1 plus 0 plus 2, which is 3. Then after that count, it changed to 0 to 2. You work it out. When you work it out, you gonna, after that, the count is going to be 2. Then it's 2 less than 6, and that is true. Then it goes again. Then it's gonna give you, like now it's gonna say A is going to be 3 plus 2 plus what? 3 over 2. Then you're gonna get 6. Because it's an integer, you're gonna get 6.5. Because here we are working with an int, 6.5 is get converted to 6. Then after that, it changes for as count to 4. Is 4 less than 6? It found that is true. Then it's gonna say A equals to 6 plus 4 plus 3. 6 over 2 is 3. Then the answer you're gonna get 13. So you only write the final answer that you get here. For A, the final answer is going to be 13. And then when you write the final answer, the reason part is that if you keep writing one line, same time over, or if you don't want to write the final answer, let me just show you what you can do. You can write the first value we get for A, it was 3, then we get 6, then we get 13. You can write those values there. Then you go to line 8. Line 8, you're in line 8, only what affected it was count. Count started at 0, then it goes to 2, then it goes to what? It goes to 2, 4. Then after that, it goes to 6. It ends at 6. You can leave, you can just say 2, 4, 6. It ends at 6. Then in after line 8, but I will advise you guys in this question to only write the final answer, which is 13, and you just write 6. So after line 8, you skip line 9, then you don't do anything. Then you go to line 10. In line 10, it returns A. What is the final answer for A? It's still 13. You just write 13. So you can choose to write 13 here, or you write all the values that, because it's a while loop in line 7, it was looping. Even in line 8, it was looping. You can just write 0, 2, 4, then 6. Then here you can start with 2, 6, and 13. If the tutor, because they are the people who mark are different tutors. So if the tutor who's marking understand programming well is gonna understand and give you the full marks. So even if you write 13 and 6, they will still give you a full marks. But the problem part, some other tutors, they don't really know programming. So they might fail you because there are those who just stick on memorandum and they don't read too much. Okay, so this is what we call it variable diagram. So when they ask you about writing a variable diagram, they want you to do exactly what I just did now. Any question?
No, you may proceed.
No, there's no question from my side.
Yes. So you see that variable diagram is very easy. It just want you guys to understand how to program. So when you understand in programming, then you won't have a problem with variable diagrams. So let me go back to the question. So now we have answered question number, it was question what? Question 3. Ne? We are going to question 5. Not question 5, question 4. So question 4 says, Carlton Learning wants a program that displays the amount of money a company owes for a seminar. The fee per person is based on the number of people the company registers. For example, if the company registers 7 people, then the amount owed is 560. So which means is 7 multiplied by what? It's going to be 7 multiplied by 80. Then that's why it's 560. If the user enters a number that is less than or equals to 0, the program should display an appropriate error message. So an appropriate error message that they are talking about the message, the error they are talking about, like, yet, like, let's say the error message, maybe like you have entered a invalid number, or you can say enter a number that you have, you can just say you have entered an invalid number, enter a number greater than 0. So here in this one here, you have number of registrants and the fee per person. So this table here, it shows us that before you even do anything, you will know that you are going to be working more on an if statement here. So they say complete the program below. Hash include stream username space std into main. So question 4.1, it says declare a variable to hold the number of registrant and variable to hold the amount of a company owes for a seminar. So you can here for variables, for registrants, you can use is gonna be int. It's going to be an int. You will say int. You can say int registrant or R. I will just say R, but you can write as a full name. You say int registrant, and then for an amount you can use fee. Ne? You're gonna use a float or you can use double. Ne? You say double or float. You can say float fee like this. Then it says write statements to the second 4.2. Write statements to input the number write statements to input the number of registrants. If the user enters a number that is less than or equal to 0, the program should display an appropriate error message. So I'm going to answer this one in the board. Let me just go back to the board. So here in that one, the first one, you're going to write a C in R. Then after that, if R is what is less than or equals to 0, then what must happen? It must pop out the message. These are the braces, ne? See out. It must say maybe you can say you entered an invalid you entered an invalid number. You can just say something like that. As long as it is an error message, then you close. So that's what they want in 4.2. So 4.3 says write statements to calculate and display the amount of money a company owes for a semen. So we are going to use this data here. So here 1 to 3 4 is what is 100 rand, and 5 to 10 is 80, and 11 and more is 60. So when we use this data, you are going to use an if statement. You're gonna say if R is greater than or equals to 1, and because they are in between and R, you use an and, not or, is less equals to 4, then which means your fee that we declare is going to be equals to what? R multiplied by what? The 100, that's the first one, semicolon, you put a brace. Then you say else if R is great equals to what? 5, and what? And R is less equals to 10, then what must happen? The fee, it must be equals to R multiplied by, it was 80, yeah, 80. This is a brace, and then else if again, else, you can say else if again, your R is greater than or equals to, is it greater than or equals to, let me check, number, where do we, okay, if R is greater than or equals to 11, then what must happen? This is 11, it's 11 there. Then what must happen? Your fee must be equals to your R that you declared multiplied by 60 rand. Then you put a brace. So this is exactly what is needed there, everything that I wrote. So if you write this, you're gonna get for complete 4 marks. So that's question number 4. So now you have this question. Question number, okay, we are doing number, this one. We are going to number 5. Okay. It's not, let me see how, yeah, I can put like that. So question number 5, it says, in order to plan road maintenance, it's about road maintenance, the Department of Roadworks, okay, oh, okay, fine. So the Department of Roadworks requests that the road usage must be determined. This is done by counting the number of vehicles using the road with 2 wheels, 4 wheels, and more than 4 wheels, respectively. Write only the necessary switch statement to count the number of vehicles with 2 wheels, 4 wheels, and more than 4 wheels. Do not write a complete program. You are not required to write a complete program. Then says use the following variables. You have been declared into number of wheels, int count 2 and count 4 and count more. So these ones here, you have been declared them. Then after that, it says the counters for the number of vehicles with 2, 4, and more than 4 wheels, respectively. So now assume that counter 2, counter 4, and counter more have been initialized already. And that, okay, and that a value has been, I think we are missing some other questions here. And that the value has been input and validated for n wheels, okay? So let's see this statement. Okay, let's see what we are required to do. They say write down only the necessary switch statement to count the number of wheels with 2 wheels. Okay. So now when we write a necessary switch statement, I'm going to, let me just go there straight to that question. So what you are going to do, you are going to switch number of wheels. Is it everything assume that is already been declared for you? You are going to say switch in brackets NR wheels Then in your switch, you know that you work with a cases. So for cases, for case, you're going to have case. For case 2, ne? When number of wheels is 2, it must record. Ne? Let me just try to write. I'm used to write with a computer, so when I use my hand, it becomes a problem. Case 2 is going to be what? For case 2 is going to be number of 2 wheels. So for number of 2 wheels, you only write if case 2, if the entire case 2, you increment counter 2. That one which is return counter. You say counter plus, ne? Then for case 4, we have for number with a wheel of how many wheels? Let me check. And then we also have the other one for case counter, which with 4 wheels. Ne? When you have case 4, ne? You write case 4. You increment counter 4. There is no R there. This one you can let me erase that. I mean, in that question, you must be precise when you write them. Is counter 4, like only count for 2. Then here we're gonna say count 4. You must write it exactly the way they say counter there. You put plus again. When case is what? When case is more than what? When case is more, which means for case more, any case beside this, you use it in default. You will write a default because it's not these 2 numbers for default. But the problem here, when you start with the default, the one for default, if you enter 1, it's still going to take you to the default. So now, which means here we have to come up with a plan. For counter more, it's either it can be more than 4 wheels. Can be 5, it can be 7, it can be what? It can be anything. So when you come to default, because we don't know what it's going to be, you are going to use, and remember, when you write like this, you must put a break. Each and every case here, you must have a break. The way I've shown you, you must also have a break here. So in default, you are going to use an if. You will say if NR wheels is greater than what? Is greater than 4. You can say greater than 4 like that. Then counter more plus in the default. So just by writing this, you have answered that question. That's what they wanted. Did you do it like this in the exam? So we're going to move to question 6. So remember this question, and it always repeats because many students, I think they are failing to understand that question because it's kind of like I don't know what's wrong with many, like it's always repeating. So you must remember how I did it and read it. Question number 4 normally, based on my analysis, it always come in many question papers. So remember this question. Make sure you study it and you follow it, because even in 2017 was there, 2018 was there. Every year, I think many people are not getting the right answer in this question. So question 6, it says, write a for statement to display the number 1 through 10 on the screen. Write a for statement to display the number 1 through 10 on the screen. So the for loop that you have to write, you can just say for. So let me just, I'm just gonna write it here. Oh, what's wrong with my pen? Okay. So the for loop that we're gonna write, you can just say for int I equals to 1. They say it must written 1, semicolon, I is less than or equals to 10, semicolon, I plus plus in brackets, see out what? See out I. Eh? You can even put end line if you want, or you don't put end line. But remember to put a semicolon. If you don't put end line, you're still gonna get the full amount, full results, not amount, full marks here. Yeah. So it's 6.1. 6.2 says write a while loop statement to display the numbers 1 through 10 on the screen. So it's still the same thing, eh? It's just that they're asking you in a different method. Yeah. So for while loop to display that, I think I've shown you guys when I was teaching you this. You remember I told you it's very important. You see that statement that I was showing you, if you understand, you get a 3 marks for free. You just come int I equals to 1. Then you say while your I is less equals to 10, what must happen? Your I, see out I, you can put end line if you want them to be in its new line. And remember to say I plus plus. This is very important. When they mark, they are going to say 1 like this and 2, 3. That's why they gave you 3 marks. Because if you forget I plus plus and the semicolon, remember about the semicolon. So if you forget about I plus plus, they will end up giving you only 2. Any question?
I don't have any question with your explanation so far.
Hello? Someone was talking, I couldn't hear what you were saying properly.
Okay, I was saying I'm happy with your explanation. I don't have any challenge so far with the way you explain it to us.
All right, no, thank you. Let's proceed with the question. We are in question number 6. So these questions, if you follow the way I'm also showing you, you answer the way I'm doing. So you will end up getting a full, you can even get total. So the only procedure here when you're in the exam, if you feel like, if you are trying to answer the question and you don't know that question, you can see that you don't know the answer. Don't waste time on that question, move on. So now when I was still at university, I was not used to get zeros. The reason part is that I never get even full, like 100%. I never answer the question that I don't know. So because I know that I'm going to get it 0 for that question. So it's rather to skip fast and run and go and answer the ones you know. But I'm not saying I would answer only those I know. But after when I'm done with the whole question paper, after answering, I can reflect back, trying to think about that matter. If I'm out of time, then at least I've written something rather than waiting from question 3 the whole 90 minutes. So now let's proceed to question 6.3. The code below should display the number 1, 2, 3, and 4 on the screen. However, the code is not working correctly. Correct the errors in the code. Okay, it have to display 1, 2, and 3 in the screen. Let's say int number equals to 1, while number is less than 4. You see, it cannot return what I already saw the mistake before I even do this question. It cannot return 4 because of it. They use less equals less than. So the while loop should say while. It should say while number is less equals to, you see, less equals to 4, so that the 4 also can be included. Ne? See out number and line. And the second thing, it must also, that is not complete, it must also have an increment. That didn't increment what? Number. So when you change it, you can just rewrite it like this way. Let me go to the board. So you see, today, why I'm not using a code block is because this is how you're supposed to write. You don't use code block in the Excel. So we say int number, which was equals to 1, semicolon, and say while number is less equals to 4, and then see out this one. You just the error that we corrected is here, ne? See out number. We have an end line there. Then after that, in a while loop, remember you must say number plus plus, because if you don't put it, it will do what? It will be an infinity loop. Then that marks, they are going to mark the error there, and you also added here. Then you deserve to get 2 marks. I don't think it's more than 3 or 2. Let me just see, because there is nothing much which we did there. Yes, it's 2 marks. You see that there is only 2 errors. So 6.4, 6.4, the code below should display each salesperson's commission. It must display the commissions. The commission is calculated by multiplying the salesperson sales by 10%. Commission salesperson by 10%. The code is not working correctly. Correct the code is 2 marks. Float sales equals to 0. Float commission equals to 0. Enter a sales amount, sales, and then while sale is less than, is great equals to 0.0, commission equals to sales multiplied by 0.1. So this statement is wrong, because here when you say commission is going to be equals, okay, commission equals to sales. That's wrong here. Just add this down. Commission is equals to sales. Say commission equals to sales is gonna be okay, it's fine. Then after that it says see out commission end line. So the problem part that I see is in this statement here. This is not how you write a while loop. You remember? So it must have a plus equals to. So it must say commission. I will just, this C means commission. It's gonna say commission equals to plus equals to what? Sales multiplied by 0.1. So that's how it must be. Plus they forgot plus equals to there. So the second thing again, if sales is starting at 0, if they say is 0 greater than, is 0 greater than 0, is 0 greater than 0. 0 is greater than 0. You know that 0, because if you say 0 is 0 less than 0, 0 equals to 0, we know that 0 is equals to 0. So this statement here is also not correct, the one in the while loop here. Because if you say 0 is 0 greater than 0, then it does not make sense because our cell is starting at 0 there. So if a person enter a cell of 0, okay, yeah, no, this one is correct, it's fine, né? Based on if a person enter, it can enter 1 or negative, but if you enter 0, this statement, it won't work because 0 is equals to 0, so it won't do anything. So it will accept only positive cells. So it's fine. So the only problem here was in the plus. You just have to add this plus here. Yes, yeah, you just have to add the plus. So that's the only problem we have in that question 6.4. Any question?
I think I see another error.
Okay.
The
Yeah.
way commission is written in the while loop.
Okay. Commission is already been declared, né?
No, the way it's written.
Oh yeah. The problem part there, is very it was not easy to see it. I see what you mean because it starts with a small letter K, C there. If you mean that error.
Yes.
And then yes, even it must have a small letter C, which means you must also correct that it must start with a C. Yeah, yes, small letter C. That's you are right there because it want to know it's a very tricky. It was very minimal error that it's not easy to see it, but it must be exactly the same as number line through there. You are right. That's another error. So those are two errors, which means that question have. So that one for say I didn't take it into account. Anyone? Before we go to question 7. Who is in the lobby? All right, so let's proceed with question number 8. Question number 7, so yeah. So question number 7 says, in this question, you have to write a complete function. Here we have to write a complete function. It says the fruit packers keep record of the number of crates of fruit that are packed for each day for a whole year, 365 days. These 365 values are stored in an int array called crates. You have to write a function called calculaverage to determine average number of crates packed per day for the year. So here now in this question, the first thing, okay, they even give you the hint, is 6 marks. Assume the following: a declaration of global constant int number days is 365. Declare two declaration statements in the main function, integrates number of days into average. So this one here is going to have an average. So what you do, you are going, I teach you, the moment when you see this, you must remember about the for loop. That your answer is must have a for loop. It says values have been assigned already to all the elements of the array. The function is called in the main function, okay? So you are just writing only a function. So the function, because here is working with an int and int, it's an int here, but the average, okay, is going to calculate the average. So which means the average, it should be the function of a float. So when we say it's going to be the function of a float, you are going to do it this way. You are going to say float or float calcu average. I'm not sure if it was a small letter average there. Then in your calcu float calcu average, you declare your array. Ne? Your array is an array of int. First int create. You put the braces like this, then you close. Then this one, you use a for loop. You say for int I equals to 0 into I is less than what? That number is like the one for 365. I'm not sure if they use the number like this. Let me just check in my, I have this question paper in the phone so that I can also, yeah. Is question number 7. So they use days, number of days. You say number, you can use, you say less than number of days. Semicolon, then I plus plus. Then this statement here is going to increment. Then you use the for the number of days. You have to have you are going to do what you have to increment them because you want to know the average. Then you're gonna increment. You will also declare inside. You must also declare a variable which is going to work as an decrement, like as an addition. So you must also declare maybe a variable. You can say int sum. No, not int, float. You can say float sum. You can even put it on top there with the function after you say comma. Then you're gonna say after this statement for loop here, you're gonna say sum plus equals to what? Creates the name of an array. You put I, then this function, it must return. You say return sum divided by average. Average is already been declared. It's an average is a what? Is a global variable. Global variables. Remember what is global variables? Global variables are variables that are declared outside of the function. You say average like this. It must return average. Then you close. So this one, this is what they want. Let me just try. Maybe it's not. I feel like I didn't write it properly. So let me just rewrite it again. Is float we're gonna use is float sum. Then we're gonna put exactly this one. I already wrote it. You're gonna use a for loop inside here. You put a brace first, then for. Then you say sum plus equals to create I. Then after that, you can put a brace if you want to put a brace after the for loop. Then you say return what? Return sum divide by average. This is what you're supposed to write for this function for question number 7. Do you guys have questions? Any question with it?
No.
All right. So if you don't have any question, let's move to the full proceeding question. So question number 8 is all about the header functions. I think this question, I'm not sure. There are a few people here I did this question with them. But I'm gonna repeat them. It says write a function header for the function check that has 2 parameters. The first parameter should be an integer value and the second parameter a floating point value. The function returns no value. So this one here, for this one, because the function returns no value, is going to be a void. Ne? You say void is called, the name of the function is check. In brackets, the first one, it returns an integer, int x. The second one is float. You say float y. Ne? So this is what is needed. You don't read a lot of things. You just write this. This is what exactly what I wrote there. That's the answer. That's what is needed for you to answer is a function header. There's a write a function header for the function multi that has 2 floating points numbers as parameters and returns the results of multiplying them. Floating. So this one, the function is going to be float multi. Then it have float again in a float. You can say float x, comma, float what? Float float y, ne? Brackets. Those are something that they want there. It says write a function header for the function time that inputs second, minutes, and hours and returns them as parameter to its calling function. So it inputs what this function, right? A function header for the function time that inputs. It inputs. This function is inputting seconds, minutes, and hours. So second, minutes, and hours, they work in terms of integer. Ne? So when they work in terms of integer, so this function is just inputting. So you can also use a void function here. It works. You can say void. There is no return in here. You can say void in brackets and they say return them. Okay, and it says returns them as what? Because of this word returns, then we can't use void. So we're going to use an integer. You're gonna say it can't be a void, it's going to be an int. So you're going to say int time in brackets int seconds, time is in integer, ne? Int x, you can you can just write minutes if you want to write minutes, but I'm just gonna represent them as int x, int y, and int you can say int hour, int minutes, int second, int minutes, or let me say m rather than this one, and minutes, second is started with second, ne? And minutes, and what hour, and int. Okay, let me just rewrite it properly. I think I didn't. And okay, it's fine. Int time in brackets int second. Let me check if they started with a second. Okay, number 8. Yes, they started int second, int minutes, and int hour. You can just say hour. I will just use h. So that's what you need to write there, int h. For number what 8.3. So 8.4. 8.4, it says write a function header for the function countlets that returns the number of occurrence of characters in a string, both provided as parameters. You see, so this one you're writing a function header for a function countlets. That's the name of our function that returns the number of occurrence of a character in a string, both provided as parameters. Both, it means they are not, that word both in English, it means that they are more than, they are two things provided as a parameter. So which means when you write it, you are going to say, you're going to have a string, a function. The function must be a string. It's going to say a string. Oh, okay. String countlets in brackets string x and string what? And string y. That's what you need to do there. The rest, they didn't ask you to do. They only want you to do to write the function header. So that's the function header. Suppose the following declaration appear in the main function of a C++ program: int numbers, float cost, and markup and discount. Also suppose the following calling function appears in the main function: amount equals to calc_final. You have okay, cost there, markup and discount, and number 5. Write the correct function header of the function calc_final. So we have to write the correct header function. This function here, we can see calc_final. It's working with a float, and there's float of them and int there. So it's going to be a float. Let me see something. You have int number. Okay. Okay, yeah. So this function, if you check what is happening here for calc amount, okay, they even say amount. So it's going to be a float. To write a float, calc_final. In brackets, then the first one, yeah, they just use the results. Then it's going to be float. You can name it a cost. Maybe you can just say float cost p, ne? Comma. The second one is markup, is also float. You can just put float mark P, just to add like they are different. Then the second one is discount is still a float. You put a float discount P. You just add P, the word P, to make them different. And then the second one is int what? Int number. You can say int number P. I will just say NP for now, for the sake of the space here. NP. Then the rest of these things I wrote here, you must reference them from cost P, cost markup P, and cost discount P. Put a reference like that at the back. You know how you do it when you put a reference.
Yes.
So the other one, the second question is 8.6. Suppose the following declaration appear in the main function of a C++, a string day, week, days of week, and in product code, number, and okay. If the following function header is given, you see what is happening here. This is given, 1, 2, 1. The first one is, and okay, discount P in okay, and that, and that, and that. So give the correct function call, function statement of the function calculate discount in this one. So when you give it this one, the way is they are writing it there. You are going to write calculate function. You put this. You're going to put this. You're going to put this day of a week is discount. You put the first one is discount. Then you just follow the process there. You put now the following one after discount is what? Is product P. You put product code. Then the second one is number P. You put number. Then the last one is days of a week P. You put days of a week. You only substitute those with these ones, and they are saying now they are saying variables, like they just change them with P. The different is with P. So the difference is with P. So that's the same question. You just substitute there. But remember, when you do a function call, you don't write a data type. You don't write void this thing. You must start from the calculate discount. So that's question 8. So with this question paper, we are left with question number. So let me we are left with question number 9, 10, number 9, question 9 and 10 and 11. That's also question 11 is a very simple question, So before tomorrow's class, we're going to finish first this question 11 and 10 and 9. Then we'll go to another question page. Unless others, if you have question with what we did today.
Not from my side. Thank you very much.
All right. I'm going to end this session right now.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.